Parashat Vayeira, it is a parashat that everything gets focused on, of course, the Akedah and the questions and the whys and the how and so on and so forth. We always like to come up with questions and problems, but we really have to understand that, if you really look at it, our generation, the whole entire generation, is in a constant state of confusion. Constant state of confusion. Everything is moving. And by the way, the confusion comes because everything is in a big movement. Everything is moving. We never settle in one place. To actually, hold on 1 second. Let me just think 1 second. Let's see what's going on. Always moving. The ups and downs of life, and so on and so forth. There's a tremendous lack of unease internally also. We're not in peace with ourselves. We don't know anymore. We are very, very confused. And believe it or not, even to the greatest thinkers and philosophers and psychologists and so on and so forth, they really already gave up their heads and we don't know what to do. If we're going to, it's very interesting because if you're going to go to the evolvement of the DSM, there's less and less, disorders over there because everybody is a lunatic. It's really crazy what's going on. The amount of people that take psychiatric medication just to continue going on through the daily routine is on an increase every year, and it becomes a problem. It looks like we are in a continuous grind. We're being like this all the time. Whether it's, and by the way, this is not only on a personal level, it's also on a national level. Look at the deterioration of nations all over the world. Whether it's the United States, whether it's in Europe, whether it's in Israel, and usually when there's such deterioration, people, what happens, there's only one solution. There's a war. Usually what happens, there's a war. And this situation, and especially that, brings us really to the learning of what we could learn from Parashat Vayeira. Hey. And it's a big. And we know that the way of the Torah, the way the Torah operates and the way of the Torah is really through Kiyum mitzvot. In other words, doing mitzvot. Whatever it is that we do is the mitzvot. However, and that's something that we somewhat neglect throughout the years, together with doing the mitzvot, there is something else that it's called tikkun hamidot, working on your qualities inside. On really how you behave, how you think, how you act, and so on and so forth. Your midot inside. If you look very carefully, and I'm not talking about the fashion of statement of the gentleman, that started in England like in the late 1900s, but there are very few gentlemen around us. Everybody acts like a barbarian, and the more barbarian, the better it is. Very low class. No classa. So we know that, in other words, when we do the tikkun hamidot and we do all this thing, it's basically mitaken the nefesh, our soul inside. Our soul is in ease because of all the struggles and all the powers that come in and threaten to tear it apart. And our soul is not in ease. And then we suffer. So we know that the mitzvot came to really purify us. However, without the tikkun hamidot of the nefesh, and that's not only if I'm happy, there's also the spiritual midot in terms of what it is, and we'll get to it. What we call the kli, the vessel that we are, the kli that we are, cannot really hold the light of the mitzvah. And that's why you see people that today are leaving. They could come from families who are Shomer Shabbat and so on and so forth, and all of a sudden they leave. And the reason is because their kli, their vessel, their receptacle cannot hold the light of the mitzvah and the break. We should know that you need to work on both of these things. Also, asiyat mitzvot, but tikkun nefesh as well. You have to. You can't just say, okay, I know, sit down, I'm going to do every mitzvah in the Shulchan Aruch, but in terms of me, I'm okay, I don't need to work on myself. Arrogance and so on and so forth, all these things. And also in terms of how do we interact with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's all one package together. If we, maybe I was thinking, maybe if we'll, I was thinking if we could use a little bit concept, to borrow some concept today from the Kabbalah. Amen. Adama, it's okay. Adama. Underground, yes. Say Adama.
Not from the trees?
No.
Make a new one.
Say Adama.
No. This? Muzonot?
Mezonot.
Yeah.
Amen. So if we'll borrow some concept from the Kabbalah, maybe we'll have some ideas of how to fix what we need to fix. We were talking about tikkun, not only doing mitzvot, but also tikkun midot, working on yourself inside. Then I know that's something that Yitzchak likes very much, right, Yitzchak? Hakol talui, b'tikkun what's up? So it says in Pirkei Avot that 10 nisyonot nitnasa Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu had to go to 10 different tests. And he was able to pass all the tests. And the reason is to tell us how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu likes Avraham Avinu. The Ramban takes our attention and directs our attention to the fact that the great quality, the great ma'ala of Avraham Avinu did not stem from the fact that he kept the whole entire Torah, but first of all because he was able to stand those 10 tests. And we need to understand what is this about. What's the whole issue, or what's the whole concept behind the tests, the 10 different tests that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Avraham Avinu, and to a certain extent, what does it have to do with us? What are the tests that each and every one of us goes through throughout our lives, almost every day? Each one to his own, of course, but this test. So the Baal Shem Tov, you guys know the Baal Shem Tov? We talk about him today.
Yes.
You know him?
Yes.
Next time you see him, say hi.
Shalom.
Do you know, besides the guys in the morning, anybody knows, by the way, the name of his daughter?
Adele.
Huh?
Adele?
Adele like the singer. Lama Esh Dat Lamo. He took the initials, Esh Dat Lamo.
No son? No son?
One son.
In life? No.
Yeah. But now, man, he died around, the Baal Shem Tov died around 1700. Machloket Poskim. We went to this. Let's not get into it today. So the Baal Shem Tov says that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives the person the tests, what happens is something very interesting. He says they take from him all the lights and all the clarity that he reached in all his levels and all the madragot that he went, and then he's in a state of what the Kabbalah calls katnut de mochin. In other words, small mind. You know, when a person is everything is clear to him, he gets mochin gdelin. You know, he has a big head. You know, he understands everything is clear, smart, clear to him. When you come to a test, HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes everything from you. You grind well. And of course, it's quite understood and it's quite clear. When a person, you know, he sees everything in clarity, it's not really a problem to pass any test. Everything is clear to him. It's not a big deal. It's a test. It's not a test. I can see it, right? You have a person that's a little bit of a tight corner. Mochin the godlin, you know, he can see it. You know, it's not a problem. But when a person is stressed and now he can't see. Now that's the test. When it's very easy for you to say, let's say for example, you're one of those lucky guy who won $1.6 billion, right? And I'm going to tell you, Yosef, don't worry about the money. I'm sorry, you're going to tell me, I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you, listen, the thing's a little tight, the Chaz v'Shalom, family, this, money is tight. So, don't worry, money is nothing. Don't worry about it. It's good. It's all fine. Nothing to worry about the money. Easy for you to say. You have $1.6 billion. But let's say, Chaz v'Shalom, a person has nothing. And now you look at your bank account. I heard about a guy who opened a business. Him and his parents had a food truck. And he says, I'm opening a restaurant. He opened the restaurant. He took all the money from the family, everything. They opened a restaurant. He says, okay, we'll see what's going to be. We don't know how many people are going to be. So the parents said, if not tomorrow. He says, I don't know about tomorrow because we only have $17 in the bank account. I mean, things work out for him. It's a very popular, burger joint, But it's very hard to be able to see the light when you are in darkness. Mochim de katnut means it's not clear to you. You can't see it. And this is the test. Not when things are easy for you. When things are hard for you. Now, that you can't really see things besechel. You can't think about this. And somebody comes to you and says to you, don't worry, it's going to be okay. What do you mean it's going to be okay? I have bills to pay. How is it going to be okay? Easy for you to say, you don't have to pay my bills. How are you going to deal with those situations? That's the test. I don't know, I'm going to get married. There's nobody going to marry me. So let me just marry some debt. Oh, mommy is yelling at me. I don't know. Oh, wow. I'm going to support myself. What do you mean, how you going to support yourself? You don't support yourself. God does. But that's your test. How many times do we have to go through all these things? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. That's called mochin. Don't worry about it. Because I'm above this. I don't experience it. It's easier for me. But you are in the situation, or us, when any person when in the situation, that's the test. Now, let's see how you're able to surface up and see things differently. And that's a tremendous nisayon. And that's, by the way, look at the Baal Shem Tov of the Torah, it says over there. So, when everything is good for you, you have confidence, you have light, you could see, you can think, but it's a little different. So the Netivot Shalom, anybody knows who the Netivot Shalom is? Who? One of them. What was his name? Shalom Noach Brozivsky. יצחק, צדיק. אני אומר צדיק, תגיד תודה. בבקשה, סופרי. So, he says the following, and I'm quoting, העמידה בניסיון בעת הקטנות מוחין דווקא. The real test is when you have מוחין דקטנות, when you can't think big, when you're stressed, when you're pressed. והיא המבחן על מדרגתו האמיתית של האדם בעבודת השם. This is when you're being tested to your level, what your level is, to determine what your level is in Avodat Hashem. I put it on the Yeshiva group, those of you who could understand Hebrew, the story about the movie or whatever it is, a documentary on the Admor Mitzans, the Tzanz Kloisenberg, right? If you didn't watch it, you should watch it. If you didn't watch it, you should watch it. But in order to know what your real level is, don't try to put yourself in different tests. Don't worry, the test will come. It'll be a little tight. Now let's see how much emunah you have. You could determine what your level of emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's what he writes here. And he says, כמו אדם שאוהב לעזור לחבריו, it's like a person that likes to help his friends. His real test is only when it's going to be real difficult for him, or the help that is going to be needed is going to determine a great sacrifice from his own resources to his friend. For example, let's say you say somebody is your good friend, right? Ari, let's say you're my good friend, right? So now, we go ahead, I'm just using the other example, we go ahead and we tell everybody, oh, we're good friends, we're good friends, we're good friends, we're good friends. Everybody says, oh, these are best friends. Yofi. One day, Ari calls me at 3 o'clock in the morning. He says, hello. I say, hey, what's up, Ari? He says, listen, I'm stuck in
LA.
LA. LA is nothing. I don't know, I'm stuck in, somewhere an hour away from here. Can you come and pick me up? Listen, you know what? Get an Uber. It's gonna be good. That's a friend. I want to see how many of you, if your friend calls you, those of them that you claim that you're big friends, if they ask something like this from you, or to actually let him borrow some money to help him out. It's very good when you're friends, when you buy each other a drink or so, or something like this. But real friendship, it's not when everything is okay and everything is easy. Real friendship should be determined when things are not good for you. And they're not convenient for you. And then you're going to help them regardless of that. That's friendship. How many people like this do you know that will come to your rescue at like a crazy hour in the middle of the night? Or will help you to that extent? I mean, you know what? If you have 20 friends and you look around and you ask yourself the question, you're lucky if you have one. Lucky if you have one person who will do that. Lucky. So whatever you thought your friends are not your friends. You don't have friends. Those people, you were using each other when it was convenient, one over the other. You have no friends. A friend is like somebody like that. That will come, I had a friend of mine, when I came first time to visit my in-laws, he heard that I'm here. He didn't know I was in New York. He heard that I'm here. He came from Boston, picked me up. All of a sudden he comes, he's knocking at my door. I said, what are you doing here? He said, I can't be out, we're going up. He came, we had breakfast, we went to the car, we drove back there, he brought me back. That's a friend. That's a friend. I don't know if you guys remember, at my daughter's wedding, he was sitting with me at the table. Because he's my friend. I have another friend in Israel. He hears I'm there. He lives in Eilat. I live in... He says, listen, where are you going to... Tell me, I'll come. I said, no, Moshe, don't worry. Someone coming. He took the bus 6 hours just to come and see me. Spend the day. We went to Yerushalayim. And then he went back. These are friends. Not so many people like this. Your level in Avodat Hashem will be determined not when everything is easy for you, when things don't go your way, when you can't get the shidduch that you want, when you can't get the job that you want. Do you come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and say, why? What do you mean, why? It's your test, Motek. You failed. And guess what? You just failed. The test was for you, to show you and where you're holding. It doesn't make a difference if you have a beautiful talit with silver on, with turquoise and diamond. That's nothing. The real jewels are inside the heart, not on your talit, not on your watch, inside your heart. And so we need to understand that there are different levels that we need to go, and the levels in which we need to strive for in what we call the spiritual work, Avodah Ruchanit or Avodat Hashem, is the whole entire Avodah. Everything that we do for Hashem, it's going to be for us as a natural thing. Not even second nature. It is natural. On first level, first degree. In other words, it is engraved in our soul, in our neshama. And as they say, b'china she'ena tluya be'ha'arot ve'hasagot, something that avodah is not dependent on how clear out to you and how much you understand and so on and so forth. Ela שהיא חלק ממהותו ומציאותו. This is a part of your essence and this is your reality. By the way, this is the Netivot Shalom. And he writes, כמו שאדם אוכל, like the way a person eats, שותה, he drinks, וישן, it's natural for you. You have to say, let me contemplate. Why am I eating? What do you mean you eat? I want to eat, I'm eating. This is how Avodat Hashem should be for you. It needs to be natural. And of course, it's very difficult for us to even comprehend how can we reach such a level. But regardless of that, you have to make the effort. If you never make the effort, you're never going to reach not only this level, any level. One way to reach that, and we speak about it all the time, is to get what we call shiviti, contemplated, or the shavot, to contemplate, but we'll see a little bit about that. And by the way, whether it's easy or whether it's hard, always shiviti Hashem. And that is the level of emunah that you have in the goodness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That level needs to be steady, equal. Not one time up, one time down, steady, like a straight line. And as David HaMelech says, by the way, in Tehillim, which Tehillim?
86, 119.
Anyone wants to take it? Which Tehillim am I referring to?
14.
Who said 14? Close. Close.
20.
16.
The parable.
Ted Zion, what number is that?
8.
Which pasuk?
8.
Pasuk 8. Who said 8?
Mark.
Mark, very good. So that Tehillim, it says, what do we say? Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid, always. Now, in other words, Shiviti, I have a chidush for you. Shiviti, shaveh, is not only to contemplate. Shaveh, it's equal. Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid. In all situations, I view Hashem in front of me. They're always equal. Not one time Hashem makes me win the lottery. Thank you, I love you. Hashem, Chad v'shalom, Hashem, Lama. Hard to be a Jew. Equal, straight. Straight. Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid. And we all have to know that everything from HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always letovah, is always for the best. And David HaMelech finished this pasuk, it says what? Ki mimini bal emot. When I realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is on my right side all the time, in other words, supports me, I can never fall. Bal emot, I would never fall. So there's never a nefilah, because you know HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you the koach. And it's a very, very high level that a person needs to really understand. And that's what we call dvekut be'Hashem. Attachment yourself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You can physically attach yourself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but all your actions are dedicated towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Everything is dedicated towards Him. Everything that you do is dedicated towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And you measure things that you do based on your quality of relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's very easy. If you have this, you can never do any Averah. Never. You can never do an Averah. Bal emot, I'm never going to fall, means, in other words, I'm doing an Averah. Hashem is with me, how can I do this? So, this is not something that, it's some aloof concept up there. Each and every one of us, if we'll just stop for a second, we could reach that. It's not going to happen over a day. It's a lifetime journey, but it's a wonderful journey. It will change your life from one side to another. You have nothing to worry about. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? You're going to die. All right, so I'll see God there. There's nothing to worry about. What's so bad to see God? I mean, we love Him so much. No, we talk to Him, we pray for Him. So to see God. מה יכול להיות? I'm only afraid of death because I realize that my life right now I have no meaning. So I don't want to end up my life realizing that all the years I live were for nothing. So I'm afraid of dying. You'll be able to face that because you know what's there, so there's nothing to worry about. I'm not afraid of. Not to be afraid of. We're afraid of letting go, but that's the thing. Now, the Rav from Kurbin, Rav Moshe Kurbin, says regarding the Nisayon, the test that Avraham Avinu, is a very interesting concept. That Avraham Avinu was thrown into the fire, right? So he says everybody was amazed how the fire did not consume Avraham Avinu. He said that's not what you have to wonder about. He said you have to wonder about how is it She'ur Kasdim was not burned from the great love that HaKadosh Baruch Hu had for Avraham Avinu, because he calls him in Yeshaya, in Sefer Yeshaya, Isaiah, chapter
Yeshaya.
12.
Prophet.
chapter
42.
41, verse
That's 7.
18.
8.
Oh, I said 7.
It says he calls him Avraham Ahuvi. However, we know yet that when the time of the 10th Nisayon came, that by itself could not have achieved. He needed Avraham Avinu, and that was the whole purpose of the test of the Nisayon. Avraham Avinu had to do something else together with that, and that was bringing about the act of the midah, the quality of chesed, right? That was, you need to put something else with it, and this is really the story of Akedat Yitzchak that he brought about. By the way, tomorrow, Be'ezrat Hashem, in the morning, we're going to explain a little bit more into the Akedah, but Be'ezrat Hashem a little bit more from a Kabbalistic aspect to it. So we spoke about the issues of the Nisyonot, of the test, and so on and so forth, but we didn't really touch the point. Why do we really need all this Nisyonot altogether? What's the purpose of all this test altogether? So Hasidus teaches us, the Baalei Hasidut teach us something very interesting. That the word Nisayon really comes from the word Nes. Nes is not just a miracle. Nes, a flag. That's right. That's right. It's also a flag. As it says in Tehillim, chapter? Tehillim chapter?
41.
Guys, that's why you don't win the lottery. Chapter 60, verse
5.
6.
Oh.
Close but no cigar, Sam. And it says, Netatali yerecha nes lehitnoses. You gave a nes for your people in order to basically a flag to wave it. And the Midrash tells us about Rabbi Yossi Aglili. He says on the pasuk, "Va'elokim nisait Avraham." He says that the nes, this is how something has to be to us. It has to be like a mast of a you have to wave it so hard, like a mast of a ship, that you see it from above the horizon. He says this is how you have to wave that nisayon of Avraham Avinu, and that's something that brings us very far. Look in Midrash Rabbah, it will tell you over there. In other words, it's something that we have to be proud of. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts a test in front of us. There is a reason. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not care about us, He would not give us any test. It's like, I don't care. Yalla, lech mipo. It is in our benefit. So comes again the Netivot Shalom, and he says, הניסיון, I'm quoting, הניסיונות אשר נתת ליריך, המה מתנה מן השמיים כדי לנשאן ולגודלן, להתרומם ולהתעלות. The test in which you gave your people is something that they should wear as high as a flag to show to everybody in order to give them. It's a gift from heaven in order to give them, to elevate themselves and to lift them up. The tests lift us up. The nisyonot lift the Jew up to levels that they cannot reach by a person. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu does it, those tests, because of love. So if you see that things are not working for you, and the Gemara talks about this. The Gemara says the following. More or less, let's keep the whole, the Gemara says, well, if you think things don't work for you, look at yourself. Look at your midot. They're not. Look at your bitul Torah. If not, then there's a whole entire list. At the end, you give tzedakah, you do the mitzvot, you learn Torah, you fix yourself, and you still suffer. The Gemara says, what? Yesurin shel ahava. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves you, and He makes it difficult for you to connect to Him a little closer, to be able to elevate yourself, to show yourself that you can. One of the biggest fears of people, for example, is, there's people, they do karate, and they can do the form very nice, but they never get punched in the face. Comes your teacher, and they're afraid of that. No. Comes the teacher who really likes the students, and, he whacks them. But now you don't have to be afraid of it. I can do it, I could take it. On that, Shlomo HaMelech says, what does Shlomo HaMelech said? Soneh bino, chosech shivto. If you don't whack your son, you hate your son. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does it to us, to lift us up. So if things are hard for you, that's only because of your perception. This is not to twist you, to torture you. It's to be able to elevate, to show yourself that you can do it. The greatest people in most cultures were people that things were not easy for them. I'm not talking about president and some of them became president, but I'm talking about people who it was difficult for them. Look at what's his name, look at the guy from Apple with the round glasses. What's his name?
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs, right? Guy was adopted. The problem. It was hard for him. Everybody like this, but through the hardship. There are some people it's hard for them, and they go to Allah, give me some joint and give me some LSD, whatever you put in your arm. I give up. I lose. I can't give up. There in Israel, there's this guy, his name is Rami Levy. He has a lot of supermarkets, all over the place. It was hard for him. He was left over in class. He wasn't, it was hard for him all his life. Dyslexic. And he has an empire now. Multi-million-dollar business he has all over Israel. So those who are really hard for him, they have the motivation to do something. Rabbi Chaim once told me, he said, he looked at people that went to his class, that went together with him on his grade level, when he was a kid. And he said, what's interesting? Those who were the top guys in the class really didn't materialize to anything. Those who were in the middle and below actually made something of themselves. They took it and they propelled themselves up. So if everything is offered to you on the silver platter, you're never going to go anywhere. So that's why if you have a business, never let your son work in your business. Go work somewhere else, like hard for you. Don't make it easy. No. Don't buy your kids cars. Don't give it, you want a car, honey? Not a problem, go work. Go get it yourself. If you don't like your kids, just buy them everything. Whatever they want, get it for them. If you don't like your kids. They'll teach them to become independent. You're not going to be there forever. And you're not going to be there when they get married. So if you really like your kids, make them independent. You things are hard for you, you sold your house, you have nowhere to stay, or you're fixing up your house. Don't go into your mother's house or your father's house. Squeeze, go rent the place. That's the way it is. You'll see that you can do it. You can make it. It's hard, but you can make it. You check your family's relationship. You see how you and your wife are doing. The quality of your relationship is not if you never fight. It's not if everything is good for you. The quality of a relationship with your wife is when things are hard. And money doesn't. And by the way, most of the couples break is on financial things. Things are hard. They don't want to put the shoulder in, so they quit. Things are hard. Okay, so it's okay. We're together. We'll do this together. Overcome yourself. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You can pass that. This test was designed for you to pass. And if you failed it on your own merit because you didn't want to pass the test. It's not like something that the SATs, let's say you don't. It's designed to each and every one of us individually to pass because HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves us. And if you failed, it's because you choose to fail. Because you choose not to pass. Whatever test will be your way. To some guy is, to learn less an hour a day, and to other guy is to watch pornography. Each to his test. But it's never a test because you can always pass it. It's always designed for you and for you only. And things will come your way, and you make statements to everybody. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, "Oh, really? You make that statement? Chazak Baruch. Well, let me see if it's really, if you can talk, just walk the walk, not just talk the talk. Now let's see you doing that. Like a cat, like a dog, you're going to put your tail between your legs. You're going to run like a little, you know what? But you can pass it. In other words, there's no reason to be fearful. Fear would only make you fail. Fear will make you fail. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. Yeah, I didn't say that. It's not my line. Something maybe worth for me to say, but I'm just kidding. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. You cannot go about yourself comparing yourself to other people, what other people do. You don't want other people's life. Let me ask you again, you know what they say? If everybody will come in and will take his bag of tzarot, a bag of hardship, and put it on the room, and now you see the problem with everybody else, you say, you know what, where's mine? I want to take mine. It's okay. You keep yours, I want mine. So if you don't want somebody else's headaches and problems, why do you want to live his life? Why do you measure your life according to his life? Measure your life according to you. What you know is right for you, not to somebody did. So this guy got married when he's 20 years old. And you get married when you're 28 years old. So what? Do you know what he has to go through? Nothing. You don't want his life. In theory you want. But it's all the outside. That guy who got married at 20 and you are 28 and not married, he's going to now say, oh man, 8 years I'm going to be. Oh, the first year I called Tovayafe. After that, meet him when he's going to be 28. Because, oh my goodness, you had 8 years. Let's say you're the same age, right? And you had 8 years, you had so much fun. Me, I got married, don't ask, I got 3 kids already. Oh, I'm so jealous of you. So what do you mean jealous of me? I'm jealous of you. Right? Let's say, for example, you want to go camping in Montana. Right? And your wife doesn't want to go to Montana camping in Glacier Park or do some kind of 4x4, or your wife doesn't want to take a Harley and go across the country, right? She wants to go on the Behemoth cruise over there, right? To stuff her face with free food and go to I don't know, right? What are you gonna do now? What are you gonna do? You want to do that, so do it. But you measured your life according to everybody else, and now you're going to pay for it. And the tests are, when you don't know. That's exactly what the Baal Shem does. They take all the muchim, Now you got to go by emunah, and that's something that you have to develop. Is the emunah. Because when you make decisions out of fear, it's putting yourself into a prison willingly. You're going to fail. You cannot make decisions out of fear. You should make decisions based on emunah. You know exactly what you're expected to do. You know exactly what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from you. So why are you not doing it? Why are you not doing it? Why are you worrying about everybody else besides HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Avraham Avinu was not that kind of a person. Avraham Avinu was just the opposite of that. Everybody bows down to idols. Avraham Avinu says, no, not me. I'm going to break them. Everybody wants to stay where he's staying. Avraham Avinu says, no, I'm going. I'm leaving this place. After he was able to do all this thing, then God talks to him and says, Avraham, get up and go. Until that point, Kadosh Baruch Hu did not speak to Avraham Avinu. You want God to talk to you? It's not a problem. Make some room. Make some room in your life. Make some room in your life. So, therefore, all the tests that Avraham Avinu came, and that's what helped him reach that higher level, came to do one thing, to purify, which is to say the word zchut, to purify what we call midat ahava. Ahava is the oneness, the love, the oneness that he feels towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The oneness that he feels towards the Brio, towards the people, because he understands that each and every one of us has a part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in it. And that's respect to everything else that is out there. Nobody is superior to the other. We're all human. And you see that, when you remove, if everything, and that's called pure ahava, pure love, that is not dependent on anything. Because if you remove the subject that caused you to love the person, the love goes away. And therefore you understand there was never love there. There was always love for that thing. It says, davar talui bedavar, ahava tluya badavar, love is dependent on something, you remove the subject, there's no love. That's what it is. Ahava she'eina tluya badavar. You can remove whatever you want. I love this person regardless of what it is. Do you love, when you say I love my wife, do you love your wife the external, or you love the internal? You like the wife who looks now when she's 20 years old and all skinny, she looks like a chopstick? Or what happened when she's going to have like 5 kids and she looks like a little panda bear? You still going to love her? Plus minus the hair, You're going to still like her? You're going to still love your wife? Or it was just an external love? Where are you holding? Do you really love HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Do you only love HaKadosh Baruch Hu when He gives you what you want? Or are you going to love HaKadosh Baruch Hu regardless of what you have or don't have? And the highest level that a person can reach in that test, excuse me, is Avraham Avinu. That ahava, that love that he felt to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he was able to remove any kind of thought that he had or any questions that he had when he told him, go bring a sacrifice of your son. He said, okay, well, when should we go? Tomorrow morning. Okay, we're going. So therefore, when you love something like that so deep, so truthfully, there's not a problem to give anything you want. There's not a problem to give from yourself with no questions asked. We're friends, so don't we do it? Not a problem. So you call your best friend at 3 o'clock in the morning to shoot. I'll be right there. I'll be right there. There's no questions asked. Now you also need to ask yourself, not only how many people around you are like this, do you have any people that you're willing to do this to them? Do you? To really, truthfully connect to a person like this, are you really willing to love HaKadosh Baruch Hu to the fact that things don't go your way? When you gave your parnasa, you gave your tzedakah, and you kovei itim laTorah, and you're learning more, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you know what? Oh, I like this guy. Look at this. He's giving a lot of tzedakah. Okay, let me just close the water 1 second. Now let's see how much he loves me. He tells everybody he loves God, right? Okay, let's see how much he loves me now. And then he says, why HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing this to me? That's the level of Rabbi Nachum Ish Gamzu. Gamzu Latava. It's also good. I don't know what it is, but it's good. I know it's good. I don't have a question. I know it's good. But everything passes. If we were in the darkness of World War II, let's say 1940, you thought that the end of the world is coming. You thought a lot of people, the end of the world did come. But it only lasted 5 more years after that. World War II started when?
1939.
What?
September 1st.
September 1st, 1939. Very good. We got a history geek here. Very good. And when did it end?
1945, April.
May 1st, 1945.
No, with the
Leave Japan. Leave Japan. Yeah.
May 1st, 1945.
Japan it ended at when?
1945.
December.
August what?
August.
August what?
20.
August 6th. My mother-in-law's birthday.
I should have went to that class.
I should have known. Always associated the Hiroshima bomb. Never mind. Anyway. Hope she's not listening to me. Anyway, and this is, and we have to understand that that test was only given to Avraham Avinu. We don't find Hakadosh Baruch Hu testing the other avot and so on and so forth. Why? Because Avraham Avinu came from the lowest possible point. He came from the place that was immersed with idol worshipping. His father was like the Amazon of idol worshipping. He was spreading all over, right? He was shaliach Vayeira, shlichim shalah, right? He was spreading it all over the place. And so if you look at Avraham Avinu, that from his side of Toladah, from where he came from, it was the complete opposite of Yitzchak and Yaakov, because they came from a good place. So there was never a test for them. His test was like this. Why? Because their teva, their nature, was already from the tzad of kedusha. So it's like, for example, a person who his father was a big rabbi and he grew up like this. What's the problem for him to keep Shabbat? No, not a problem. He does it by nature. A person who was a Baal Tshuva, the Shabbat used to do this, they used to do that. Now the test comes to him. How much are you willing to keep Shabbat? Are you willing to keep Shabbat to the fact that there is an eruv, and now somebody tells you, listen, there might be a problem. So you guess what? You know what? There might be a problem. Even that there is a eruv and the eruv is good. I'm not carrying my keys. And those questions and those tests will come to you because you need to pass it to show yourself that you are capable to overcome your own nature. For a person who never tasted, I don't know, give me a good lobster, okay? Oh, I don't know, what else is out there that is good?
Soft shell crabs.
Soft shell crab.
Bacon.
Very specific, yeah.
Okay, let's check out. I gotta figure
People
that.
love it.
Bacon. Oh, bacon. All this thing, but never mind. Let's say, I'll tell you, you know what? How about a lobster? Lobster. It looks to me like a marine cockroach. No big deal. I don't know what people go crazy over it. And they said, I ate it. It was amazing. It was like, the cracking and like this. And like, oh, you don't know what you're missing.
Clams.
So now clams look like boogers. So to think about for a person who never tasted it, it's not a test. It's not a test. It's not a test. Person who, and that's going to be a test to it. And he's going to say, you know what? I'm going to pass this test once and for all. I'm going to bury this. And then all of a sudden, he walks 10 years by the road and says, oh, my goodness, the smell. Oh, goodness, this smells like lobster. Oh, I'm dying to eat it. And then you say, oh, you know what? I would love to eat it. And I'll tell you, it tastes so good. And it tastes so good. However, I dedicated my life to Hakadosh Baruch Hu. I'm not willing to do that. I knew a guy who told me he decided to become a Baal Tshuva years ago. He said, I made a condition. If I want to eat, some cheeseburger or something, I'll eat it. I said, did you ever eat it? So he says to me, I never did. I said, then why not? You never had a desire? He said, at the beginning I had no desire because I was in the power of tshuva. I was propelling in tshuva. But after that, I was propelled by love to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I said, how can I, I want to eat it, but I love HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I can't do that. And that's true, by the way, the same thing to when you married your wife and you love her. And if you go, as they say, what happens in Vegas, stays in Vegas, goes in Vegas, whatever it is, right? So your wife is not with you. You go, of course not. She's my wife. I love her. I can never do those things. So that's pure love. And that is what we need to understand. Avraham Avinu had to go through all the tests to elevate himself and to, because he always doubts himself. A person, a Baal Tshuva, always doubts himself. Am I really made Tshuva? Who am I fooling? All the things that I did in my life, all the averot that I did in my life. There's no hope for me. There's no hope for me. אין לי חלק לעולם הבא. מה עשיתי? אני יודע מה, whatever. A whole list of, Declaration of Independence, right? And then we said to him, no. Because you did it, and now you did it out of love, it becomes a mitzvah. Why? Because the chazara, the propulsion to you away from the avera, towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu erases. It says, forget about the minus, I'm going to make this a plus. Not that the act itself was a plus, but the way you're able to push it away from you for the sake of your relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's where you go into the plus column. And that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu tried to do with Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu probably always doubted himself. Says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu talks to me. Then my father was a big idol worshiper. It was like a Walmart of idolatry. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, no, you can do it. And you should be very proud with the fact that you passed the test. And again, you see that the other avot were never tested. And if a person is be'emet, does tshuva mi'ahava, because he loves HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then nothing is and you can see it especially in our generation, and in our generation is to show us as well, the tikkun that we could do in this generation. We get the koach, not from Yitzchak, not from Yaakov, we get the koach to do tshuva from Avraham Avinu. And that's the tshuva that we have in our generation. It should be tshuva mi'ahava. Why? And that HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us zchut. Why does it call zchut? Zchut mishum lezachech. Zach is pure. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us a zchut to purify us. To purify what? To purify the materialistic, behemic aspect of us. To bring it up to the level of a pure neshama, of a good vessel. And then we are able to do the mitzvot, and the mitzvot stayed with us, and we would never give them regardless, we never give up on them regardless of what comes our way, regardless of the temptation. There is no temptation there. It's dead. It's not a temptation for me. It was. I'm aware of that, but I'm not doing this anymore. Right? Almost like, how do you call this? Alcoholic Anonymous, right? Hello, my name is so, and I'm an alcoholic. I know what I am, but I'm not drinking. If you go to yourself, oh no, I can handle one drink, you fail. That's exactly the power of the tshuva. The awareness that I'm capable of doing so, but I'm not doing so because I chose not to, because of love to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that is a tremendous dvekut, dedication that we have, and we can bring, especially in our generation, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have it today. We have it today also, and we ask ourselves, how do we get to such a low level in terms of society, a deteriorated society with no values and morals, that everything is allowed to do, and so on and so forth? And the answer is very, very, very simple. We stirred away from the Holy Torah. We stirred away from the derech of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, basically from HaKadosh Baruch Hu as well. We went so far that now we are lost, and we're trying in our frenzy, we're trying to hold on to so many different foreign concepts and foreign religion, and to the nonsense of the media, and the media determine to us what is right and what is not wrong, and we measure things according to what the radio says and what the TV says, not according to what the Torah says. And I'm not talking about here about politics to right or to left. I'm talking about both of them versus the Torah. You don't determine the rightfulness of a concept based on what Democrat tells you, or Republican says to you, or an independent tells you, or Marxist tells you. You have to measure the validity of things based on the values of the Torah. You steer away from the Torah, you're going to deteriorate yourself until your pure neshama is going to become dirty, not clear, and you're not going to be able to see the light, and you're going to be lost. Comes HaKadosh Baruch Hu and implants, and this is B'schut Avraham Avinu, this generation, that really the Tshuva movement started somewhere in the 70s and kind of picked itself since then. It's a new phenomenon in Judaism. Out of the darkness of complete secularism, B'schut Avraham Avinu, we have this power of tshuva that pushes us in this generation. This should be the Shabbat of tshuva. We should celebrate that because in this Shabbat we know that we can pass all the tests that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us and never question yourself. Maybe I should not have done the good thing I did. Whatever I did and it's good. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me a test and I can pass that. And the level of where we are is exposed out. I mean, what we do in the tshuva, and we need to learn. We need to learn more about love and more about how to overcome situations. And you overcome situation not by going to college and getting a degree or making a good business and going and so forth. You overcome it by one thing and one thing only. It is ahava. Love and emunah to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Understanding, really believing in God. Fixing yourself from Him, like a bride that prepares itself to the groom. Yes. You in the beginning you're a groom, and then the broom you become a broom. Yeah, right? Like a wife who prepares herself to a husband, cleans herself, prepares herself. This is how we should prepare ourselves to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because we are part of Knesset Israel, and we need to understand that. That does not exempt us from tests. I can speak for another half hour if you want.
Yeah, I won't.
I know. That will not exempt us from having tests. But we need to understand that the tests are only to bring us closer. Not to get angry at the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Not to get angry at the test. On the contrary, celebrate it. Celebrate the fact and pass it. We have to learn more about internal thing, about spiritual thing. Less to worry on the outside. Less to worry on chitzoniyut, on externalism. More on internalism. This is all from this week's parasha. We need to understand that we have to expose the vessels which was given to us as individuals and as people, as a nation together, so we can actually hold the mitzvot, because there are mitzvot that we have to do as a tzibur, and there's mitzvot that we have to do as individuals. And therefore we need to work on it on all aspects, on an individual level and on a national level. Only then, only through then, we could create to ourselves a better reality, a better future, which is promised to us. We will get exactly everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says we will get. But we need to clean ourselves in order to be able to receive that gift, that beautiful gift. So Rabotai, all I want you to do is simply start examining your emunah and act like a person who has emunah. Don't ask too many stupid questions. Why God did this and what God did that and where was He here and when was He there? Because even if I will be able to explain to you, which I won't, you will not be able to understand because we're human. We cannot understand what we are doing. We cannot explain what we are doing. And you want to understand what God is doing. We have to have emunah. And only through emunah we'll be able to overcome all the hardship in the world. The emunah will bring us the light to our lives to be able to see the truth and to see what we have to see. Don't ever give up and never question God. Shabbat Shalom.